Hey horse lovers, what I'm going to show you a little bit now is some different strategies that I'm working on with Vanna here to help her be more comfortable when I communicate to her with the bit. So there's several different ways to go about this activity. The one thing that I'm not going to do is tell her that she's not allowed to have an opinion. So I'm never going to strap her mouth shut or tie her head down, because if she's moving her mouth or opening her mouth, that's feedback for me. And if she's raising her head, that's also feedback for me. They're signs of a lack of confidence and tension. So I want to address the root cause of those symptoms, all right? Her opening her mouth and her lifting her head are symptoms of a disease. And the disease is either she doesn't trust me or she's tense for some reason. And I want to figure out why and make that better for her. So we have established, right, that if I lift the reins that you can lower your head, right? If I lift the reins up high, well, we haven't done this in a while, so that's good. So every time she stretches her neck down, I'll do, she thinks I mean back up. I'll do little releases to let her know that what I want is for her to stretch her neck, right? And I like that she's also tucking her nose. But you can see that even though she is lowering her head, she's also working her mouth pretty good. Okay? So that's a confidence issue. And I'm going to try lots of different things to try to help her be more confident about carrying a bit in her mouth. And the one I'm going to focus on today is something that Linda calls stretchy rein. So I'm going to put some rhythmic, sort of stroking motion on the reins in order to put a little bit of rhythmic pressure on her mouth, but really carefully and really slowly. I don't want it to at all hurt her or be surprising to her, have any reason to cause her any concern. But I'm going to comb the reins with my fingers in an effort to cause her to think stretch down. The more her head comes up, the more drag I'm going to put on the reins. The more her head goes down, I'm going to lessen the drag to let her know that that's the right answer. Okay? So hopefully I don't need this. I'm going to start it in the walk. It's really hard to do without forward motion. Now, her head's already down. So any kind of effort I put right now into lowering her head more is not really the goal. The ideal head carriage is a range between slightly above level to the nose getting as low as the knees. Anything below the knees and the posture isn't necessarily ideal, and often it's an evasion tactic. Now, I don't mind being able to do it as a yield, right? That I want to ask my horse to put her nose as low as the ground if I wanted to as a yield. But if my goal is to improve her posture, to help her use her back, below the knees probably isn't going to be doing it. Okay, so since her neck isn't going up in the walk and giving me any reason to ask it to go down or to use stretchy rein, I'm just going to go ahead and try it at the trot. So you can see right away her head comes up. So I'm just, that's it, putting a little bit of drag on the reins here. The more her head comes up, the more drag there is. The more her head goes down, I'll lessen the drag. More drag, less drag. That's a girl. That's a girl. Sit. I try not to beat myself up too much about my riding position here. There's a lot going on. My focus is on training her. She's making, that's it. She's making little grunting noises. And my hope was that we were headed towards her blowing out like that. this stick under my leg hurts, so I'm going to put it down. So that was a pretty good result there. She has done this technique before, but it's been many months ago. And we had kind of abandoned it for a little while to try other things. That's good. So I put a little feel on the bit there in an effort to ask her to lower her neck, and she did. That makes me happy. Let's try again. More drag because her head comes up, less drag because her head starts to go down. I'd like it to be actually a little bit lower, so if she stops trying stuff, then I'll put more drag on again too. Try to keep the rhythm of how I change hands the same no matter what she's doing. All I'm changing is how much drag I'm putting on, how tight I'm holding the reins in my fingers as I slide them. Starting to heat up in my fingers. Really want her to take that and stretch it down. There we go. That's a girl. That's a girl. Sometimes, if you're not quite getting there, you can put it on a circle. So I'm going to put a little bend by dragging a little more on the inside rein. That's good. Using my inside leg to steer her on this circle here. There we go. That's it. Super. Super. Give her a little break. So I'll be keen to watch the video back to see what goes on in her mouth and whether or not that's helping her to gain confidence about me communicating to her with the bit. I'm going to do the same thing going the other way, and I'll probably call that good for that exercise today. Don't overdo it, little bits at a time. 1% improvement as you go. I don't expect perfection today, just hope for progress. I hope you found that helpful.